Start today's class. Today with Java variables. Last have seen variable. Today we in depth what is meant by local and instance variables, and after that we'll see arrays. If you have, we'll cover operators as well. Last class we have learned how to write a class and how to write a method and what is method signature. And we know how to declare a variable also. Just need to specify type first and to specify the identifier. I think the variable name. Declaring the variable name with all restrictions, and that's supposed to follow. We have to follow certain rules for declaring the variables. Yes, in depth after operate and control statements. Definitely, like I'm just whether you got the base idea of like a method signature. Now, tool also.
We did not do that last week. I'm sorry. We did last. Even the method declaration, we did not do it last time. With only variables, and then just printing out a statement on the console.
Okay, buying public static void main.
And then just system.out.println.
Okay, yeah, I'll change that.
Okay.
Yep. Okay, this is what we have seen in last class. How to build object, that also we'll discuss later. And we are only interested in printing the employee ID. That's what we have seen in the last class. Okay, we'll deal with related to variables and then deal with the data types. So nothing but folder you can say, or you can say an identifier, a representation, current employee ID and employee name. These two are variables for employee class. So of real world, this is represent entity. Once you have created any object only, and only you can say that the employee is fresh and employee ID is 20. So that time only you are providing a definite representation for the class by object. We to see what are the rules that are available for declaring the variables. A programming language, there are available to declare the variables, which are known as. First one is variables. Start with alphabet, dollar symbol, or underscore. So a variable declaration, it shouldn't start with a numeric type. So you are not supposed to use the variable declaration as one data or employee ID. So it with a numeric number. And if I want to write a numeric number, specify a single alphabet the first letter should be alphabet, and once after that you can place numbers at any place. Either you can place once after that. If you want to declare employee IDs, you can take E1 and employee ID 2. But is a variable declaration. It shouldn't start with a number. And the second is it can also start with a dollar or underscore, but that's not a preferred one, because underscores, it won't suggest to use underscore in between the variable names. So the what with is the variable should start with the alphabet. Is variable name shouldn't exist. The sense we are here using public and here using class. So the Java keywords. So variable, you shouldn't specify a different keyword or keywords as variable names. If it all true, then will throw an error there itself. Next, lowercase, uppercase, both are different variable names. Are different variable names. So written like EMP ID, and if you are trying to write int employee, both are different. You'd be taking care about declarations with the lowercase and uppercase letters. And there is no restriction in length of the variable name. Number of characters in declarable name, and you write it's like in specifying the length of the variable name. You have that I have specified here. So the basic rules that we are supposed to follow when we are declaring the variables. Now we'll prefer this particular syntax regarding the variables because it follows Java standard. The first letter should be small. Next, it was supposed to follow the camel case convention. That we need to know is what are the different types of variables that are available. There are types of variables available, but as of now, discuss only 2 of them, and we'll discuss rest of them later. So, thing is instance variable. Instance variable. So here we have mentioned when we have specified any class, we are supposed to create objects for that. So objects. Let us class here. I'm writing some UML structure. Here we have specified employee ID, and after that specified employee name, salary, and designation. So this is basic class structure. So by use of this structure, we can create any number of objects. In the sense, after we'll be going to provide, let us say, description object. This is string object, and this is this object or function. You have any number of objects that can be created based on the prototype or the blueprint that was already available. For each and every object, so once you add an object, let us say you have created 3 objects here. You have 3 objects. So nothing but in real world also, just imagine for the first object will have different ID, employee name, and designation. The same, this will also contain all the details, whatever our class will be going to represent. So how many number of objects will be going to create? Each and every object will get their own copy of data. But each and every object will get their own copy of variables. So these variables are called as instance variables. Nothing but representation. Instance, you guys already know in the same way, instance variables or object variables. So once you create a class, you have just provided a blueprint and how many number of objects you'll be going to create. Each and every object will get their own copy of instance variables. And that was related to one object is not at all related to another object. Change some information at this level, it won't affect. It won't at the other level. Is it? Okay. Now, about instance variables. Instance variables are related to object level. So that instance variables will be going to work at the object level. Whenever we want to change some kind of data related to the object, make use of the object name, and you'll be going to use the variable details, and you'll be going to change the data. Method, let us say this is public static void main is my method. Or let us take some other methods, public void calculate sum. Taking 2 parameters. Last time we have seen what is meant by parameters or arguments. And like this method, we are going to calculate the numbers and will be going to return it back. So the value is integer. So calculating the sum of 2 numbers in sum integer a plus b. Supposed to return the value. Forget about syntax. User get an overview. I'm supposed to return the value as sum. Whatever that I'm returning here and the data type that I'm taking, it should match. Then only the compilation will get success. Now here you see that a variable. The declaration of a variable, it consists of the type and then variable name. And see that here I'm declaring a variable, but I'm declaring the variable with respect to the method. The variable declaration was available within the method level. So whatever that you have declared at this level, it was at all useful outside this method. So variables are called local variables. Local variables are nothing but method level variables. If you understand properly, no issues. We'll discuss about local variables one more time later. Understand that local variables are related to method level. And variables, these instance variables which are declared inside the class, and they are related to instance in the sense object level. Discuss about data types. Probably you might have good understanding about local variables once after that. About objects, instance objects later also we'll discuss later. Data. And we have specified whenever we are declaring a variable, we are supposed to specify the type of data the variable will be going to handle. So the employee ID holds user data, contains a group characters and some flag of information which holds where the representation of variable contains a true value or false value. Means specify the data type for each and every variable, and your clear will be going to verify whether you're passing the data properly or not. If you specify as employee ID and it is an integer, and if you're passing it as a string, your computer won't accept that case. It will error. So several data types available, and first of all, they are categorized into numeric and mixed data types. Say the top level, primitive and primitive data type. If you're familiar with C or C++, it's the same, primitive or non-primitive. Primitive but big data types which are required for any language. So they have provided several data types, just like however they are available with respect to C language. Primitive data types, they are again categorized into two types. The first one is numeric data types, and the second one is non-numeric. Some suggest numeric, which deals with numbers, decimals, and non-numeric and Boolean data types. Numeric data types are nothing but there are 4 data types available. Here numeric also we have specified 2 types. The first one is normal numbers and the second one is decimal numbers. So for numeric also they have categorized into 4 parts: integer, int, long. Type integer nothing but those ones, 2, 3, either it can be negative also. -3, 1, and so normal integers, you can say whole number in terms of text. Integer, they are again divided into 4 parts. First one is byte, next one is short, and next one is integer, and the last one is long. And decimals, they are specified as floating points, again divided into 2 parts, float and double. The reason why they have specified or categorized into 4 different types for integer is for byte, a single byte. If you guys are already familiar with computer terminology, so byte is nothing but 8 bits. So single byte occupies 8 bits in the memory. So once the JVM was started and when the program is executing, and if we had declared a variable with byte empty ID, then it will going to allocate, let us use our JVM, allocate only 8 bytes, so 8 bits. We know that employee ID won't hold more than bits, then we can go for byte representation of employee ID. So that if you go for higher level, let us say you are taking short or integer or long, it will take more number of bits in the memory. And if you are writing some external application or production related stuff, and if the memory is constrained, then you shouldn't go for the integer or normal long variables when you have the ability of storing the data in terms of byte or short. Only 8 bits, short 2 bytes, but 16 bits. So it gradually increased. Now in holds 4 bytes, long holds 8 bytes. So if you put the byte representation to normal numeric, it will be around -32,768 plus 767, and this -28 plus 127. So a byte and it has this 22, which is not in the range of -120 to 127. It automatically convert to a different number. So we should be taking care of how range by specifying for the data type, what kind of value that you are providing. So if you specify the correct value within range, then Java compiler will automatically convert to a different value and it store that value with employee ID. So normally prefer to use only integer. If you guys, it occupies only 2 bytes in C++ language, but in terms of Java, it occupies 4 bytes. With respect to numeric data types, the next one is floating point data types. The floating data type is used representing decimal points or say decimal numbers. So in the specify the salary won't be in normal numeric format. It will be reduced 64 or $60. Normally presentation will be, so it is not possible for us to use normal numeric data type. So we are floating point data types only in case of represent decimal number. There are 2 types available. The first one is float and the next one is double. Again, reason occupies 8 bytes. For numeric, this one is non-numeric. The characters. The data we'll use is only one available, which is char, which specifies only a single character. And you define character in single quotes. As variable name is C is the actual value that will be going to hold by the data variable. So to specify some other stuff, your compiler will be going to throw an error. So you see a single character with respect to character data type. Definitely, each and every variable declaration, it should follow data type and then variable name, and this is initialization, nothing but providing some kind of data to the variable. So here providing data as C, arithmetic operator, or you say assignment operator. What I'm doing is I'm putting the value C in a variable called data. That's what I'm doing here. And then is Boolean data type. So when we want that kind of stuff, so the Boolean is only 2 values. Either it contains a true value or a false value. If you want to specify some kind of conditions, if you want to verify some kind of conditions, that will be based on the Boolean variables only. So flag equal to false. This is how you'll be going to declare the variable, the Boolean values, by specifying data as Boolean and the variable, and only two values. Either it can be a false or a true. True, false, both are keywords, so I can understand true is for true and false is for negative. I don't think like true is 1 and false is 0. It won't happen in Java. And character also occupies 2 bytes. And character representation, Java follows Unicode character set. If you guys are in C++ or C, it follows ASCII code character set. But Java Unicode character set, which is nothing but internationalization representation. Representation means characters you can write in Japanese language like a cap or a dot, or will contain some extra character representations. So in Java, it's possible to specify those kind of characters as well. Now look at the memory representation for a variable. Declared a variable here in employee ID equal to, you have a variable in the employee ID, and forget about this line, and you have assigned the variable data as 20. So you have created an object and you have provided some data to the employee ID, specify a value as 20. So then that in the memory. Declared an integer, which means it occupies 4 bytes in the memory. That is 4 bytes of memory. After that, we have specified that the data that will be going to hold is 20. Is the data that will be going to hold by a variable called employee ID. So it will be going to represented in the memory normally. So once you the data to a variable, it will create 4 blocks or 4 bytes in the memory, and it will place the data in the, and it will represent the variable or created memory name or identifier as employee ID. Two data types. Just now we have seen the primitive data types, which are nothing but the basic programming language data types, which are available in all the programming languages. Currently about declared primitive data types, but how to create an object. For an object, we need an operator called new. Let a class employee. You already know that there are 3 employees that needs to be created as instances or errand objects. Let us say Krish, Lee, Steven. So these 3 objects that you are supposed to create based on the class called employee. So an object, to create nothing but you are supposed to allocate the memory for the object in JVM. One more. This our JVM. We want to create 3 objects here. nothing but the memory, whatever thing that will be allocated for your application. So we want to create 3 objects. So the first is Krishaw, and the next one is Leo, and the next one is Steven object. 3 object to create. That means you are supposed to provide some memory in the JVM. See, you have specified the primitive data type, how much memory going to occupy. Floats or integers, you already know that this is the memory that will be going to occupy, and your Java knows that it was supposed to allocate 4 bytes in the memory when you are declaring variable with respect to integer. Screen frozen. See my screen?
Yes, Krish, I'm able to see your screen.
Okay. So is it kind of blur, or is it coming after some time?
Actually, the sleep time has decreased, I think, so it goes off into standby mode every few minutes.
Yeah. Okay. Probably might be a problem with respect to your internal. So probably it would be better if you can collect by using LAN connection. So yeah. So specified. So know that for primitive data type, it will going to occupy certain memory in the. So for integer 4 bytes, or float it is 4 bytes, for character it is 2 bytes. But an object or to an object, it is not at all possible to allocate a memory by using the memory itself. You have to inform to the JVM that I want and the memory for object correlation, or I want the memory for the object or Steven. Any number of variables with respect to your class. So that means, let us say if you are here declared only 2, but let us in some other class, and there it contains order details, which consists of order ID, order number, and also the telephone number. The remaining details you will be going to provide it. So for Java, it's not at all possible to understand how much memory it was supposed to allocate for an object, and your responsibility to allocate the memory for an object. So memory for an object in the sense to create an object. So an object, we are supposed to use a keyword called new with class name. Operator which specifies to allocate the memory in the JVM. And the next is you need to specify the class name. The class name serves as a data type. If you have declared a class, you are going to create objects based on the class name. So that a class name will also be a data type which will be going to produce a lot of objects. When you operator with respect to the class name, J understands that you want to create an object which is of type class name. So in this new employee, first I'll do about syntax later. Currently understand that we're going to create a data type. You have specified new nothing but object allocation in the memory, and you have specified what is the data type also. And that once you have created an object, previous integer data equal to 20. So here 20 is a number in the memory number of bytes it got allocated is 4 bytes. How it got allocated? It calculated based on the data type that we have specified. So use any new operator because already knows that it was supposed to allocate 4 bytes in the memory. Once you have created an object, you just need to have a kind of reference to hold the object. Else, you create an object here, your object, new employee. This object in the memory, you just need a placeholder for that, or we'll call that as a reference. But a name you can say, or pointer, but in Java you won't call that as a pointer. So you should call that as a reference only. So let us create reference. So one object, let us say you have created an object using new employee, that's fine. But to access the object, you should provide a name for that, and that's called a reference to the object which is available in the memory. And to access to specific reference, you need again time because you want to hold a variable. What is the variable? Again, the data type for the variable and on the class name you are going to use as a data type. So a class, so getting an object with respect to the class called employee. So definitely you're going to get an object of same type. You'll use a assignment operator, which is nothing but this is mapping. You have an object, you have created an object that you have created a reference. But ability to point the object which got created to the reference that was, so for that was to by using which is equal to symbol. One like this. Here steps we are doing. The first one is creation of an object. Variable, and then is assigning the reference variable to the object that got created in the memory. So if it's as a single step, you need to understand in 3 steps. You have created, once you have created the object. Let us say you have created an object, and for the variables employee ID and employee name. So to access the variables employee and employee name. These two, what we have specified, these two are instance variables. Nothing but these two variables are available with respect to each and every object. Access and here of a class will use operator. Map operator, which is specified by using a period. By using membership operator, you can access both variables and methods, properties and behaviors. In a normal real-world entity scenario, once you have specified he is Chris in ID, this will contain an employee name. So you find the employee ID and name with respect to the entity. In the same way, you are supposed to bind the property variables and methods corresponding to the object that you have created. So currently I have created an object called Krish. By operator, Krish dot means which is a member access operator. sorry, member operator. Once you specify dot, you have the access of all the instance variables, and all the instance methods. We'll discuss about instance methods later. Access the variable, you just need to specify the reference variable and then the variable. Normally, you will access all the instance variables. Dot emp id. Where Krish dot emp name. This will be going to access all the instance variables with respect to our class. And access those variables, you already know how to assign the data. For employee ID, you need to specify it as only in numeric data types. And in employee is a string, nothing but the name of the entity, which is Krish. So we'll access what we'll see, Vijay, that I explained in a minute. Its instance objects, not its method objects. Instance objects. I didn't understand the word, Adil. Instance it means.
I was referring.
Your voice is breaking, Adil.
Yeah, referring to.
Yeah, your voice is still lagging. I guess it's a problem with your internet speed.
Okay. Now?
Go ahead now. Yeah, go ahead. Or else you can join using normal phone number, Adil. Okay. Seen the first non-primitive data type, and the second one is arrays. We'll come back to classes and objects one more time, and we'll discuss about how to declare and how to access the methods by using objects. The next is arrays. Under non-primitive data type. So those pretty familiar with C++, it's the same one. Array, list of variables or group of variables of same data type. We want to calculate sum of 10 numbers. 10 numbers. So it's required for us to declare 10 numbers in number 1, 2, and int number 10. So it's required for us to declare 10 different numbers or 10 different variables and allocate in the memory. Using of arrays would define list of variables of same data type. So currently you want to form, or when you want to calculate of 10 different numbers, you will be going to use same kind of data type. So at the time you can make use of the non-primitive data type instead of going for 10 different primitive data types. An array, the same array with the symbol array is square brackets and open square and close square bracket. Array is you need to specify the data type. See, he already specified that a group of variables of similar type. You can of similar data type. So to specify that, you need to specify the data type first. Let us say I want to declare integers. So there are 10 integers. So what data type for each and every variable? Currently, the data type for each and every variable, it can be integer only. And once that, you need to specify the symbol called array symbol, which is square bracket. And after that, you need to specify the variable name or the identifier of numbers. So just like how you are declaring the normal integer variables, integer space identifier, you see the array can also fall under the same category, but you need to specify the open and closed square bracket, which forms to the JVM that array of numbers contains array of or list of variables. So when you only integer, it contains only one variable, but when you specify integer array, it holds a list of variables. And specify that the array contains list of variables, but you inform to the JVM that how many number of integers that you are expecting. So that you should specify externally to JVM. So use the operator, and you need to specify how many number of elements or number of elements that you want in your array. I want 10 elements in my array. So you need to specify that I want to 10. So specify, you'll be the same new operator, or that you'll specify the data type, and inside the square brackets you must specify the number. If you didn't specify and you're leaving like this, your Java will throw an error. The same strategy, make it element to the array. Looking at this syntax, you need to understand that you are creating an integer array which holds numbers, and is array of numbers. So this is currently we are creating only 5. Can you integer in a new line? Yeah, you can write, but you should specify the array on the left side. I will show you how to write that one. So we're getting 5 numbers only, and this is the name of the. And I have specified that 5 numbers are available in my, and each one of them is of type integer. So each one occupies 4 bytes. 4 bytes. This one occupies 4, 4, 4, 4. So what is an array which consists of 5 numbers? 5 multiplied by 4 bytes of size for my array of numbers. To access each and every element, specify that your array contains 5 numbers, but you need to allocate the data for each and every variable, each and every integer variable inside your array. See, addition of an array is to hold different numbers. So once you get an array, you need to put data for each and every variable. To provide data for each and every variable, you need to use index. Index represents a position of an element in the array. Index it starts at 0, but not at 1. Array index starts at 0 and ends at length minus 1. Length currently you have specified I want 5 numbers. So what is your end index? It should be 4. So your array access, element access, it will be like 0, 1, 2, 3, and then 4. See, confused, these are not values. These are just the positions to access elements. The actual data for each and every element. 1, 2, 7. So you specify that array numbers at index 0. I have the value called 12. So let's say you want to retrieve the value at index 2. So then this is the index value and you are accessing this particular variable. So when 2, you won't go like this 1, 2. It's only by using index. So you have created an array. Let us say I have created 5 elements. 5 array, and I want to assign the data to each and every element in my array. So for that, you need to make use of your array name, and you need to specify the index at which you want to provide the data. So currently, provide the data at first position, which is nothing but 0 index. Same way, you should provide data for each and every location. Currently, my array consists of 5 numbers, and you should specify the elevation, or to access each and every element, you should specify name of the array, and then brackets, you need to specify what is the index that you want to access. So you want to access the element at 0 index. So you should find the name of the array, and then you should specify the index as well. So to specify index, you want to use only square brackets again. Assign the element out of range. Trying to assign the element at position, which means at index 5. So that means you are trying to allocate an element at this location which is not available in my array. This one is not available in my array. At this point of time, Java throws you can think like exception or error. We'll discuss about what is meant by exception or error later. When the element access or the index position that you are specifying, it should lie in between your array range only. Was an exception. You can assign the data by using each location of element, or else use the option of delegation. But during relation itself, you will specify that my consists of 5 numbers and the values are 20, 25, 26, 27. It's not required for you to specify the memory allocation operator and the number of elements that you are trying to hold. Your Java read how many number of elements that you have specified. You should specify the data in curly braces only. So in curly braces, how many operands that you have specified by using comma, those are all calculated and allocated in the memory, and Java maintains or Java creates memory in the JVM. See that there are 5 numbers available, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, and it creates 5 memory blocks, and then it has array of numbers. Access each and every element. You already know how to access the element. You just need to specify the name and then access using index. Now you'll be going to specify, and this initialization is called dynamic initialization of an array. This is of static data, so normally we won't prefer this type of initializations, and we'll declare the variable like this, and we'll assign the data. Or as specified, you have option of declaring the variable here and then allocating the memory when you use. So this is how you can declare variable and you can access the data. Sorry, you can and you can assign the data by using new operator. This is working only on primitives. So I discussed about object later. Now, these are the two non-primitive data types that we are having. The first one is class, and the next one is arrays. Important class. One class, which is string class. We have string class, your examples. So the reason we are supposed to know about string class. String is nothing but group of characters. So let us say previous in character equal to with quotes, we have specified the value of the character. But if you want to specify a group of characters, nothing but, let us say I want to declare the employee name. Employee name, it consists of group of characters. Let us say I want to write Steven, which is not possible to fit in a single character. You need to find several different characters and you need to combine them later. So instead of doing all those stuff, you can find a group of characters by using a class called string class. What I discussed, class is also a data type. It's also a data type, and you have to specify the string for every data type. For each and every variable, it consists of a data type and then name, and after that you'll specify or you'll initialize the variable using double quotes here. So for specify using single quotes, and sorry, for characters you'll specify using single quotes, but string you should specify by using double quotes only. So this you will allocate to string variable. See, if you take a look at, we have mentioned that for each and every class is a non-primitive, and you should use new operator to allocate the memory. This is how previously we have specified. Class is a non-primitive. You should specify to the JVM that I want to create an object of data type. But take a look at here, we are not trying anything. String again was available. You can specify the character group by using double quotes, and it will be calculated by your JVM. You have the thing, but later we'll see how to get by using operator for strings also. Currently, you are allocating the data by using normal primitive variables, boolean equal to false, integer equal to 20. So just like how you are specifying for employees, so it's the same way. Of the array at a later stage after initially assigning 5. No, you can create a different array. See, let us say integer array, integer 20 you have created. And you grow the array, that's not at all possible by using null arrays. You should a new array altogether.
This is Vijay. Is that the correct syntax? Int a?
Oh yeah, we can declare in any way, but this is not the preferred way. you should follow in this way only. That's a valid one, but we should follow integer array only, because the kind of reading it should follow integer array. So once declared an array, that means it got allocated the memory 20 integers, that means 20 into 4, 80 bytes in the memory. But later I want to grow the array, not possible at the same location. You should create a new array. Still you can assign it to the same variable, but whatever data that you have assigned here, it will be at this level. Because you are creating a new memory in the JVM. But there are solutions to arrays or growing or shrinking arrays, but we'll cover them later. There are some variables here. In declaring int employee ID and string employee name, float, salary, employee test, whether he's or not. So I'm creating an employee object, employee emp1 equal to new employee. After that, I want to access these variables, these instance variables. So I need to use a dot operator, and I need to specify the employee ID as 20. In Eclipse, just paste the dot operator, and you can click on control space, controls all the available options or all available variables and methods with respect to your object. Dot employee name is Steven. Employee dot salary is float 234. Do the error message later. Employee equal to true. We'll let F in a minute. You can see I have allocated, I have created 4 variables, and after that I have created an object, and that employee, I have allocated the data as integers, and allocated the employee name by using double quotes, and allocated by using decimal points, and employee status, which is a Boolean value, allocated as true. Some other kind other than true or false value. That Java compiler is throwing an error saying that SDFPS cannot be resolved a variable. And number type cannot convert from integer to Boolean. So the reason the types will go, we have defined the data type correctly for which we want to hold the data. The instance and local instances are local to the class, we can call them directly right. Not again if you static. So we'll talk about static later as well. There is point which I forgot to specify. Every variable and every specific instance variable get default value. Default in the sense, let us say you created an object employee to new employee. You have created an object and you have specified the reference as EMP. So means see the object Steve you have created. Steve, you will be going to get all these variables, right? All these instance variables that will be available with respect to your object. Each and every instance variable they will get a default value based on data types. Types in the sense we have certain data types. The first is primitive. Get the default value as 0. Floating points, they will get the default value as 0.0. They, which is using 4 rows. The T code representation, and then they will get as false. The non-primitives get the representation as null. We'll discuss non-primitives later. Other integers nothing but we have 4 integers: int, long, short, byte. So they will get a default value as zeros. Specific to variable only, they will get default values. Local variables, they won't get default values. So we should specific when we say default variables, default values will get assigned to variables. 0.0, it should contain a decimal point, so that's the reason. And character /u 4 zeros, which is nothing but an empty space. And the default value is false. And if you change, you can make it as true. You didn't assign any kind of data to primitive data types or in variables, by default get the variables which will get allocated by your JVM. When VM will be going to create an instance variable in the memory, it will assign the data also to those variables. You can change the default like this. So you can see I'm changing the default values, and I'm providing the specific data that I want to associate with respect to employee one object. If you're printing the employee ID value, the default employee ID value, and I'm printing employee ID value after assigning. By member access operator, I have assigned the data. So now execute it. Employee ID value is 0. Employee ID value after assigning is 20. So who entered the value 0 for employee ID? Your JVM knows that the instance variable integer should contain default value as 0. And variables, locals, they will never get default initialization. You assign to them. Else your compiler will be going to throw relation error that where initialized. So you should care about local variables.